So I am muting all of you, but again, just to reiterate, it doesn't matter if you're muted. I want to hear your questions. So please feel free to unmute and ask questions at any time, because if it's a question for you, somebody else is going to have that same question, so please go for it. This series is one of the culminating series. So a lot of times I do these classes in segments that build towards a crescendo. And this is the crescendo. So with this class, we're going to be putting together a few of the techniques that we've been working on over the past several months. And then next month, we're starting with something totally different. And then January as well. So with this month, we're going to be doing some low key uh, still life, meaning some that are a little darker. We'll be using some subtractive. If you happen to have dark paper, um, like the Strathmore black or the UArt black or any of those, the next two classes would be a good opportunity to use that. It really doesn't matter what color you start off with. We're going to be layering a bunch of color. And by the time you're done, you won't be able to see much of the paper underneath. But for tonight's class, we'll be working on a simple still life where the compositional lines are going to be hitting the center of this pumpkin and the stem of this pumpkin. So we're creating kind of a portrait of the still life. So you're really seeing, full frontal view of all of these objects, and they're going to be melting into the back, and we're going to focus quite a bit on the lost and found edges. Now, in terms of the color, it's going to be mostly an orange blue palette. So I'll be using a few different versions of oranges and a few different versions of blues, mainly to create some energy in terms of the complements and so forth. You want to always have a little bit of visual candy to enjoy. Hey, hi, Diane's husband. Tell him next time to take his clothes off when he walks by. I'm teasing you guys. Okay, so
he sometimes does.
What's that?
I'm gonna get her in trouble. Okay, so let's move to the easel and we'll go over tonight's palette. So the palette for tonight, I forgot about my piece of paper in the corner there. Let's try it this way. I'll put the colors up here so you'll be able to see them better. Now we're using a pretty simple palette. So I'm going to start off with the darkest colors. And one of the darkest colors is, in terms of the 5 values, this is a blue green, so it's more of a teal. But you could also use like a dark blue or an indigo. So any of the dark blues would work.
Sean, we can't really see anything.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Thank you for pointing that out. Let me move it over.
Ah, okay.
That's probably a little better. Okay, so dark blue or uh, a teal, either one of those. In addition, you want to have black or a dark gray, and these are the darkest dark. Now, the dark gray I'm using is a hard pastel. It's kind of small, but uh, it's a hard pastel for making thin lines. So whatever dark gray you have or black, make sure that you can use it for thin lines. I would also have a dark brown. This is more of a 4 than a 5, but this dark brown, same concept. You'll be using it for some of the thin lines here and there. So we want to have something where you can get into some tight spaces and make a thinner line or edge with.
So Sean, since I'm just beginning, should the blue be a soft or a hard pastel, or does it matter?
It doesn't matter so much in the background, but I'm
Okay.
using a soft one.
Hmm.
Like a soft
Okay.
one will cover more. Good question. Okay, and for the other 4s, these are going to be a little more pumpkiny colored. So this is like a, a brick color. Wouldn't really call it an orange. It looks orange in the camera, but it's more of a burnt orange. So it's a darker orange. Now, this is also a darker orange, but it's an orange that has a little blue in it. So it's a very, let me get it in focus for you here. It's a muted orange, almost a neutral. And you don't have to use that exact color, but if you have something close to it, I think it's more of a flesh, considered a flesh tone. And this is dark blue that is one step lighter than the darkest blue. So this is a 4 value blue. Now for the 3s, this is the most pumpkinest color that we're using. It's an orange, but it isn't a real super vibrant orange. It's a unison color RE10. If you're trying to color match, a good color match for this would be the, let's see, the brighter pumpkin. No, no, maybe not. Maybe the inside of the shadowy parts of the pumpkin that's facing us. And then the last on the threes is a blue gray. So it's like a steel color more than anything. A cool neutral. Let me move this up a little so you can see it. Cool neutral. Moving to the twos, there's only two of them. Look at the twos. One is a brilliant golden yellow, and this is going to be the face of the pumpkin that's facing the light on the end. Really brilliant and bright. It's what I call the school bus yellow, cadmium yellow. Very bright color. And then the other is a light orange. And this is the color of the pumpkin that's facing us, very light. Now for the ones, we're going to be using a whole lot of different ones, mainly because we have a white pumpkin that we're going to punch up some of the color in and make it spectacular. So I'm using a true white. So that's white, and it may have a little bit of yellow in it. So it's a warm white, very bright. I'm using one that's definitely got some yellow in it, a light yellow, a light pink, and a very light blue. And that is it. So we actually have more ones than we do any other color. In the palette, your ones are going to be, um, we're going to show a lot of color temperature with those ones, all light. You only have two twos, a few oranges for the threes, a few fours, and some dark fives. And that's it for VIP seating. So when you have your palette and you're ready to paint, give me a thumbs up so I know you're all caught up. Thank you, Carrie. Thanks, Vivian. Thanks, Dean. Thanks, Karen. Thanks, Jackie. Thanks, Diane. Okay, BJ, I'm gonna assume you're all caught up. Okay, I am gonna start off by putting a thin wash of color using the whole side of the dark blue or teal pastel. It's up to you which one you want to use. And I'm just putting a layer of it down where the pumpkin will be.
Can you zoom out a little so we can see more of your
Hold on. That's about the most I can zoom out.
That's good.
That's good. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then go ahead and put some of the dark blue towards the top. If you're only using dark blue, that's fine. Then you can cover the whole thing with the same color. I'm blending the top in so that it covers pretty cleanly. I'm leaving the bottom part rough. Okay, this is just a washcloth. You can use a paper towel if you happen to have one. And I'm just using one finger and lifting up the pastel to create a ghost-like image of where the shapes of those pumpkins are going to be. I'm not really erasing it out. I'm just lifting up a little bit of it. The main reason I do this is to clear the tube so that it can accept more pastel. That's really the only reason.
Okay, Sean, I'm working on paper with a fairly hard pastel. This is what I'm getting. This is what it looks like. Now, should
Okay.
I blend that all in?
Yeah, that'd be a good idea. That'll make it more solid.
Good.
Okay. Now, you don't have to put any lines on this, but if I were to compositionally put those rule of thirds lines, they would go right about here. So keeping this in mind, I want to put the one pumpkin that's looking right at me at the intersection of this rule of thirds. So that would be roughly here. Now, if you have a hard time making a circle, get a template. Any template will do. And using your hard pastel, let that template guide you to make a circle. It doesn't have to be perfect, but that will certainly give you the shape. Now we will modify this as we go. We're just starting off with the big basic shapes. Now the pumpkin that's leaning against this one has a slightly different shape. So there's an oval or an ellipse, and then there's some shape behind that ellipse. So I'm making the flat plane of it facing the opposite direction here, and then leaving some space underneath it for the curves. Oops. All right, and then the white pumpkin overlaps the other pumpkins. It's going to be in the front. So I'm making crosshairs. This is another way to make sure it's circular. Again, we'll come into this later and refine these shapes. For now, you do your best. All right, and then the big butternut squash shape is behind the white pumpkin. It comes up as tall or taller than the pumpkin in front. It's curving towards the diagonal. And then the last shape is another butternut squash shape. It starts about 2/3 the way up the first butternut squash shape. It's got a very feminine rounded shape. All right, at this point, we have the big shapes in place. So whenever you're doing a painting, try to start off by getting the big simple shapes first and then refine them. So the next thing we're going to do is go to the small piece of charcoal or gray or black pastel, and we're going to put the pattern of darts in place. So you'll notice on the reference photo that there's a cast shadow under each of the objects. That's going to be where the darkest dart is on all of these objects. So I'm going through and just making sure that that cast shadow clearly visible. So I'm going to go right across the whole bottom with the cast shadow. On the pumpkin that's facing us, I'm starting with the stem towards the center. And then you're literally going to sculpt this big pumpkin by sketching each lobe And I'm making the lobes a little bit bigger than my template for the circle. Notice on the bottom edge of that pumpkin, it's dark against the light at the tabletop. So go ahead and fill that in with your dark while you have it in your hand. When you're finished with that pumpkin, move to the white pumpkin. But notice that the darkest dark on that white pumpkin is not as dark as the rest of the dark. So I'm using the brown to sketch where the dark goes. And this just gives me a rough idea of the shape of the pumpkin and making the lines and the lobes and making them a little bit bigger than the template of the circle. Bring the dark on over to the butternut squash and pay attention to the lost and found edges. Notice that it's dark on the rounded part of the squash, but then you can see the light on the edge of the squash where it overlaps the second squash. I'm using a little bit of that same dark color in the background right behind the objects too, just to make them really dark, make the background really dark against the object.
Shondell, did you just go over the teal with a purple in the background?
Yes, the dark grayish color I have is a purple. So yeah, that's what I went over it with. I thought it was gray, but it's under the light, it looks very purple. Okay, we have moved through all of the fives. We're moving to the fours now. So I'm picking up the brick color. This is uh, like a burnt orange. And I want to start off by putting a little bit of this on almost every piece. So with the pumpkin that's facing out of the composition, I'm going to use this for the color on the bottom side, like a transition color. Putting a little bit of it on the pumpkin that's facing us. And then I'm going to use a lot of this color on the two butternut squash cakes. Now try not to blend this color. You're just side swiping the color into place. It's important that there be a hard edge on the butternut squash against the background. So you want to have a very hard edge where the squash overlaps the background. Also, where the lighter pumpkin in the front overlaps the butternut squash. You want that to be a hard edge in the orange color. Okay. Now moving to the next four, this is very similar to the brick color. It's more of a shadowy, fleshy orange. And I'm going to use it for the part of the pumpkin that's curving down towards the stem on the one that's facing us. Try to use a little bit of this color on each of the pumpkins. So I'm using it for reflected light on the bottom of the first pumpkin that's facing the way, all the way to the left. Not really finding a place on the pumpkin that's a white pumpkin, maybe on the stem. A lot of places on the butternut squash pumpkin for this. All right, and I'm going to use the little blue to put some lines uh, in the white pumpkin, and this will be the part that divides the segments and the shadows. And this is a dark blue, but it isn't as dark as the 5 value. It's a 4 value blue. I'll bring this up close so you can see. I didn't realize working on black paper it would make it so hard for me to see, but I put lines where the white pumpkin would be divided. And I'm going to put just a touch of that blue on the face of that orange pumpkin that's looking right at us. So going right on top of the orange that's already there and just scumbling a little bit of blue in a circular pattern. And this is going to help make it look like that whole face of it is curling in. It'll help give the shape of that curl. Since I have it in my hand, I'm going to put just a touch of it on the butternut squashes as well. Okay, deep breath. Woo. Move this back in the center. Now we're moving to the threes. We only have 3 colors in the threes. I'm going to start off with the most brilliant orange. This is the unison color. I'm going to, since it's a soft pastel, I'm going to use it to help shape the front. So I want this to be a hard edge up against that dark background. I'm using it to shape that front pumpkin facing into the light, but I'm not going to color it in with this color. I want it to be more golden. I'm using just a little bit of this color as a transition between the darker orange and where that gold will be. I want to leave some room for the stem. If you didn't already, make sure you sketch that stem in. I'm sketching it with a brown. Now I'm using this intensely brilliant orange on the face of the pumpkin that's facing us towards the outer edge. This isn't going to be the outside color. I'm going to come in with a lighter orange for that, but I want to have a little bit of intense orange. And it's above where the blue went. All right, the next three is the neutral, this is a bluish gray. And we're going to put this in quite a few spots. So I want to start off with the wood of the table. And I'm looking at the negative space shapes between each of the pumpkins first, and then the lines on the table. So starting with those negative space shapes, I'm sketching just the space between those pumpkins. If it's hard for you to do with the shape of your pastel, use an edge on it or break it and help give yourself an edge. Or you can use a hard pastel. Once you have those negative space shapes in between the pumpkins in place, then using the side of the pastel, use linear strokes for the wood grain. Linear strokes which is side by side. As you get towards the middle, make those linear strokes more straight up and down. And then as you move to the right, have them come at an angle, stronger angle. And blending the very front. And that will give you that illusion of the tabletop. You may need to push the two colors into the shadows. Now, inside the still life, I'm using this color mainly on the stems. Work your way around each of the stems. Ignore the white pumpkin for now. I put a couple of marks on it, but this isn't the right color for it. So just ignore the white pumpkin. You don't have to put all of the details on the stems, just some of the scraggles, some of the wispy edges. That's enough just to give the impression that it's a stem. Also, notice how the white pumpkin is reflecting on the butternut squash next to it. So I'm using some of this color as a reflected light color on the butternut squash towards the center part of it. Okay, we're going to do the next passage together, which is blending. So when you're finished with this, what you're doing right now, give me a thumbs up so I know everybody's caught up, and then we'll do the blending together. Thanks, Diane. Thanks, Jackie and Karen. Oh, thanks, Gary. Thank you, Vivian. Thank you, Jean. All right, if you're not finished, continue to work. If you are finished, make sure you have a clean finger. Now we're going to play with the lost edges. We want there to be some lost and found edges. So the first lost edge is the back side of the butternut squash that's laying on its side. So from the rounded part in the front on back, this needs to be lost. So I'm going to lightly blend it, soften this. And that will help push it back. If it becomes too dark in the process, you can add a little more pastel to it if need be. Want to make sure keep that edge crisp in the front. Okay, and then the butternut squash that's standing, there is a lost edge in the center part where the form shadow or crest shadow is on it. Now, it's lost on the inside, but the outside has a crisp edge against the other squash. So that's kind of important. Don't lose the edge against the other squash. You want to make sure that the bottom of the butternut squash that's standing up is totally lost. You don't see any of the edge on the bottom. All you see is cast shadow. And that continues all the way over to the white pumpkin. We haven't done the white pumpkin yet because the edges of it need to be crisp and hard up against the soft lost edges. We want to make sure we get those lost edges in first. All right, now on the butternut squash that's standing up, the edge of it that goes up against the uh, white pumpkin, right at the bottom of it, that's a lost edge right there. So I'm softening just the bottom of that edge, keeping the rest of it hard against the dark. All right, and then make sure that there are no uh, round edges, that the whole side of the pumpkin that's facing all the way left at the very end, make sure that that's blended and soft towards the middle. All right, this is about the halfway point. Now, at this time, if you wanted to make the wood grain even more pronounced, you can come back in and add some texture as needed. Um, Meanwhile, let's take a look. So those of you who are at the midpoint and are ready for a second pair of eyes on your painting, let's take a look. Good, Vivian. Hey,
Hi.
howdy. Ooh, Vivian, I like that paper. That's working well.
Thanks.
The shapes look good. Let the tabletop itself be a lost edge on the sides. So I'm just looking at that, noticing I did the same thing. Let the edges of the tablecloth be blended, or the table be blended. Not the very front of it, but the two sides.
This side. Nope.
Nope, all the edge on the left and the edge on the right on the table.
Okay.
The splash and everything else, pumpkins are awesome.
Okay. All right.
I'll
I
show
am
you.
getting a little green. When I blend the orange and the blue is,
Mhm.
I don't know. So it's coming out a little messy with green.
Yeah, that will happen. Try not to blend. Go over it with a little more orange. These
Okay.
these are the sides right here
Okay. Yes.
on both sides.
Got
Make
it.
sure those get blended. Okay, good job.
Thank you.
All right, who else is ready? Diane. Hey,
Okay.
oh, good. Okay, your shapes look good. I'm not seeing a major problem. Are you having any issues with the pastel adhering to the paper?
Not now. No. Well, there's dust all over the place, but
Uh-huh.
um, if I went over this part with another pastel, it'll pick it right up.
Mm-hmm. So you've
So,
saturated the tooth of the paper. It's filled.
mm-hmm.
So be careful with that. From here out, on the parts that are saturated, use only soft pastel.
Okay.
Everything looks like it's in order.
Mm-hmm.
All right, good work. Who else is ready? Carrie.
That was a tentative hand.
Okay. Good. Good. On the wood grain, let the wood grain have a little more perspective to it so that it's at an angle on the sides, going towards the corners of the paper. And that'll help create the illusion of perspective. I really
Figure?
love the colors. No, the wood grain on the table.
Oh, okay.
I really love the colors and how they're reacting to each other on your paper. That works well. Looks good. Beautiful. Karen. Ooh, okay. Move it over a little. That's better. Thank you, Karen. Oh, it's chasing your face. Okay. Karen, the tabletop looks awesome. I love how you handled that. That works well. The shapes look good. Not seeing any problems. That the one butternut squash on the very end is a little small. I would make it a bit bigger.
Okay.
Start it at about 2/3 of the way up.
Okay.
The other squash.
Okay.
That's it. Okay, good work. DJ, you look like you're ready. Oh, VJ, you're muted, just so you know.
Unmute.
There you are. Hey, VJ.
Hey.
These are so psychedelic. I love them. They are
I'm
awesome.
wondering if
Awesome.
I've got an iridescent orange going on.
I like that orange. It's really brilliant. We're going to
It
be
is
putting some
brilliant.
other colors on top of it, and that'll help tone it down, but that's beautiful as it is.
Okay.
Your butternut squash too, that shape is so voluptuous. It
Yum.
steals the show. I like it. I don't see any problems.
Okay, I'll keep working.
Good. Good work. Good
I
work.
started
That,
out with dark background, so
uh-huh, that helps. You know,
okay.
the purple you use is more of a fuchsia. I love that. It's so funny. I purposely chose not to use a purple tonight. And when I put it on there, sure enough, it wound up being a purple. There's just something in me that's attuned
You
to
gotta
the,
have a purple or a teal.
yeah, purple.
Yeah.
Beautifully done, my friend.
Okay.
I love it.
Thank you. I'm
All
gonna
right,
go
who
hide
else?
now.
Go hide. We'll see you later. All right, who else is ready? Jean, put you in the spotlight, lovely lady. Hey. Oh, oh, wow. Jean, I love your standing butternut squash there. That's that's gorgeous. Don't see a problem with the other ones. The butternut squash on the side. Remember that the stem is uh, attached to the center line. So it goes right through the very center of the squash. So it wouldn't be too far down. It would be more up and in the middle of that squash, that shape. So give it a stem lift. That's it. Nothing else. It looks awesome. All right. Anybody else ready? Okay. Paulette. Hey.
All right. Well, my pumpkin looks like a flower, but we can change that.
Yeah, the stem is a little dramatic. I toned it down a little on mine just because it's so dramatic. The shapes of the other pumpkins look good. Be careful with the wood grain on that table.
Yeah,
It's
I ran out. I mean, I put the whole thing too low, so there's no space for the wood grain. So yeah, I need to. Um, I used a soft pastel. I probably should have used a hard one, but yeah, I ran out of space. So
it's more the lines than anything. Have the lines be more at an angle
yeah,
so that gives
yeah,
you the perspective.
yeah.
And I see no problems with the other squash. They all look good at this
Okay,
point.
all
So
right.
you're good to go.
Thanks.
You're welcome. All right, Jackie, you're in the hot seat, girlfriend.
Whoops. Oops. It just fell. I hope it didn't smudge. Oh, it
Oh
smudged.
no.
I can't show you.
No such luck. Oh, Jackie, you could stop right there and you would have a nice painting. That's pretty the way it is. The shapes are beautiful. Don't overblend on this one because you've got a right amount of detail and edges at this moment. A
I
good
had
mix
to
of gloss and brown.
I had to blend to get some of the right colors. I had trouble with my oranges, but
Mhm.
thank you. See, I
They're
even have
good.
a demo. Watch.
That's your
Anyway,
model pumpkin, huh?
yeah. Thank you.
You're most welcome. Beautifully done, my friend.
Thanks.
All right. You guys did great with this so far. So the hardest part is over. Now we're moving to the twos. So at this point, let's see, I'm going to start off with the most brilliant yellow two. This is like a golden school bus yellow color. I'm starting with the pumpkin that's facing the light all the way to the left, and I'm going to strongly apply this. This is a soft pastel. I'm pushing it down into the tooth, and I'm wrapping my strokes in the direction that the pumpkin, the lobes on the pumpkin would go. Think of it as you're sculpting the pumpkin with the pastel as you draw, so that all your marks are following the shape of those lobes. They start at the center and they radiate out. I'm going to use that same golden yellow as a highlight on the butternut squash. And that's it. I'm only using it in those two places. Okay, we're moving to the light. This is the light orange, and I'm going to use it to really create a hard edge on the lobes of the pumpkin that's facing us, the biggest of the pumpkins. And this light orange is going towards the outer edge. Make sure it's a soft pastel. This one is a Mount Vision. And it's almost white. It's a light orange. Now, light logic dictates that the light is going to be brightest on the outer edge and then on the inner edge facing up. So think of it as the planes that would be facing the light. So inside on the part that's tilting out away from the center, you're going to see that highlight too. Not on the bottom edge, but on the center. All right. I'm not going to put that color too many other places. I touched the butternut squash with it here and there and put a little bit on the stem. I was going to use it on the bottom of that white pumpkin, but instead I think I want to go a different direction. I'm going to start with pure white on the white pumpkin and make those hard edges right up against the background down towards the center, but I'm only painting the white parts, not putting white where the shadows are. You want to save the tooth on the paper for more pastel there. Now, I think to make that white pastel a little juicier, I'm going to add a blue. This is not one of the colors that I chose for my original palette, but I want to make the shadow colors of it a blue, but not quite as dark as the blue I used before. So this blue is 3 instead of a 4. I'm going to use it to put in the dark. Now with that blue in there, that gives us a shot of pure blue. That helps to create more of that color harmony. I'm also going to be using all of those whites, the light whites on this pumpkin. So I'm going to use light yellow, light pink, and light blue. I'm using the light blue to help shape the shadows of the blue. Get that in place. And then the light pink I'm using as the underside of the reflected light on the bottom. Remembering that the bottom of that white pumpkin is lost. So you don't want to let the bottom parts of it be too clear. Try not to blend when you're doing the white pumpkin. We want to have some little bits of each of those colors visible and have some beautiful mark making in the process. As you're using some of the lights on the white pumpkin, find other places to put them. For example, you can use some of those lights on the stem as a highlight on the stem of the butternut squash ones. I think I could spend the whole class just on that white pumpkin. Sure is pretty. Okay, so when you're putting some of the lights in, keep in mind the whole idea of light logic, where the light logic on this pumpkin is the same as the light logic on the one beside it. The light's going to hit the top of it and the inside lobes. So that would be towards the middle on the bottom. And that's going to be much lighter than the very bottom. Try to get that pattern of light. As long as you have that pattern of light, it'll read like the face of that pumpkin. All along the top, it should be very light up against the dark background. Okay, last touch, work on the stem. You might want to simplify that stem on the butternut squash. It's going a little crazy. Keep the other ones very simple, lights and darks. It's hard with the short, stumpy ones to make them look like anything, but just keep in mind that they're a pattern of light and darks. And the light logic shows that the highlights hitting the top and it's darker towards the bottom. Right. Keep it simple. I'm going to give everybody, let's say, a couple of minutes, 2 minutes to finish up, and then we'll take a look. And I think that's my story and I'm sticking to it. Want to keep this fresh. Don't want to do anything else until I've had coffee with it. So when you reach a stopping point and you've done all you can do with one sitting, let's take a final look. Whoever's ready, give me a wave and we'll take a final look at your work. Vivian.
Struggled with the white pumpkin.
Ooh, I did too. I think I could have spent 2 hours just on the white
Yeah,
pumpkin.
yeah, it almost looks like a flower.
That's all right. Uh, so I really love your found edges. You have a
Okay.
nice strong contrast with your found edges. The lost edges, I would go a little more lost on the rounded part of the butternut squash all the way to the right.
Okay.
So the one in the back lobe of it. I would
Okay.
make that a little more lost. Also, the form shadow on the butternut squash standing next to it, don't let that become too much of a pattern. Yes, let those two seamlessly blend into each other. The
Okay.
two dark, the upper dark and the lower dark, because the pattern is a little confusing as it is, but if you stumble between them. So what you're seeing on the photo is some reflected light bouncing up into the form shadow and lightening it
Okay.
just a bit.
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah. So we want to make that a little more seamless. The rest of the pumpkins are perfect. You
Oh,
nailed those. Nailed them.
all right. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'll give you a circle back if you want a second chance at it.
Okay.
All right. Anybody else ready? Jackie. Jackie, look at you jumping in there. I'm so pleased. Oh, Jackie, I love this. I
That's
love this.
my onion. That's an onion.
It's funny. I don't really care what that one is because the others are beautifully rendered that
Thanks.
they're not as important or
Oh,
that isn't as important as it would be.
thank
I
you.
wouldn't do anything else to this one. You have a good amount of lost and found edges. I like what you did with the stem at the top of that butternut squash. You made the whole stem a lost edge up at the top. I think that was a brilliant way to handle it because it was
Good.
so confusing. Nicely done.
Works for me. Thank
Yeah,
you.
loose
Okay.
painterly, exactly what I was hoping for right there. Very pretty.
Thanks. Thank you. It was a nice picture.
It was fun. There's another one for homework that's very similar. So leave the same
Yay.
pastels out. You'll use the same palette.
Great.
All right, good work.
Thank
Carrie,
you.
you look like you're ready.
My
Don't
pumpkins
forget to
lost all
unmute.
their stems. They broke off at the store.
Actually, the stems look fine. I don't have a problem with the stem. Um, okay, so the color looks really brilliant. I love it. I I like the little shocking bits too that come through on the oranges. The butternut squash pumpkin. I love that shock of orange color right there and so forth. That worked really well. Now the lost edges are not quite lost, especially underneath the butternut squash where the white pumpkin and the butternut squash meet.
They're
Do
here.
you see what I'm talking about? Like get rid of that line.
The white one or the butternut squash
Not the
one?
white one, the butternut squash one, because you have a shadow that's showing, yeah, you don't want the squash to end right there, because then it would be a little lopsided. And I like your cast shadows. That does make them lay flat. Be careful that there's not too much light skirting underneath some of those shapes, especially the two butternut squash.
What about that?
The yeah, so the back, that's a little bit too light. Like it looks almost like there's a light shining behind the object.
Yeah.
Um, I would soften the cast shadow back there and pull some of that pastel up between those two so that it's not quite as dark. Notice that the edge of the pumpkin that's facing all the way to the left,
The
the
apple?
bottom, the bottom edge of that pumpkin is dark up against the other pumpkin. So go a little bit darker on the bottom of that one.
Okay.
Mhm. Where it overlaps, especially like the where it's overlapping the background. That will help separate it from the background because right now it's close in value to the background. Where it overlaps the other pumpkin is fine because it is light compared to the dark of the other pumpkin. Where
Okay.
it overlaps the background is what the table is what we want to darken.
Okay.
Okay.
It's
And
hard.
other than that, Carrie, you have a good intuitive feel for color. Let some of your marks stay and leave them alone.
I
Leave
know.
them crisp and clean.
Stop
Don't,
overworking them.
yes, ma'am. Exactly. Something you've heard before, I take it.
No, I say it to myself as soon as I overwork it. Like, can I go
Gotcha.
back? Yeah, I want to go back.
Well, good. Trust your intuition. You have a good intuition, my friend.
Okay, thank you.
You're most welcome. Who is ready? VJ. Okay, then after VJ will be Diane.
I'll show you what I have, but I have a bundt cake for the white. I haven't finished. I haven't finished anything except maybe
All right.
one. Okay.
So let's take a look, VJ.
Everybody?
Oh,
My
so
white
you have
isn't bundt
definitely, your white is not a bundt cake. You're such a good call.
cake.
I think the white one has a good shape to it. Just make sure you don't make it all over white. There
Okay.
needs to be some shadow on the bottom. Um, your
Okay.
butternut squash, those two tall ones, really steal the show. I love them. The one laying
Yeah.
down and the one standing up, those are both awesome. Don't
The
overwork
one
those
laying
three
down,
pumpkins.
the one laying down isn't finished yet, but
Hmm. Well, be careful, VJ, and don't overwork those pumpkins.
okay.
Keep them simple. They're very simple shapes. Don't forget the light logic on those pumpkins.
Okay.
Remember, so it's dark towards the middle and dark on the bottom. It's
Okay.
light at the top and then light in the middle too, where the light is hitting
Uh-huh.
around the stem of the pumpkin because that little stem hole, the pumpkin kind of curves toward it. So it's a bulbous shape that radiates out from that stem. So keep that in mind. In order to show that bulbous shape, you have to have the light on the top and the light in the middle to make it look right. Does
Light
that
at
make
the top
sense?
and light at the bottom to show off the middle.
Let me show you on mine because I know this
Okay.
sounds so confusing.
I should.
Sorry about that. But so light logic, the light's coming from up above. It's going to be hitting the top edge and also the rounded part of the bottom. So this stem is inside the pumpkin. The pumpkin itself curves out, radiates out from that stem. So you have to keep that in mind. So that's why the light's hitting here as well as here. The shadow does the same thing. So this part is in shadow. It's facing away from the light. This part is in shadow facing away from the light as well. It's like a donut. I hope that helps. It's very confusing. I understand. Good work, DJ. Okay, Diane, and then Karen. Hey,
Okay. Oh,
oh, Diane.
looks nice on the computer.
It was beautiful.
Yeah,
Oh,
it does. You have some beautiful shapes. The colors look good. The light
wow.
logic is working. So, how was that white pumpkin? Did you have fun with it?
No. I like
Did
the
you fight
orange
with
one
it?
better.
Yeah. All right. All right. Fair enough. I like the
Uh-huh.
pumpkins. I think they really steal the show. They work very well. Um, and I see no problems with it.
Good. Oh, it came
Good.
out much better than it was an hour ago. So,
Wonderful.
okay.
L-
One
Love it.
question.
Yeah.
Should it be taped down to a back or something? I just have it.
Yeah. I usually tape mine to a board if I'm
Uh-huh.
using paper. So yeah, that would be better.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm learning backwards.
Well, it's good to learn more than one medium. And,
Yes.
you
Yes.
become proficient in acrylic, so it's good to move to something different.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Karen, I believe you had your hand up.
Dang it.
Oh, Karen.
Wow.
Pretty.
Karen, that
Nice.
whole thing, it just glows. That whole thing glows.
Do you think this one's okay?
I love that one.
Oh,
And
okay.
the light logic works.
Oops.
But
Good.
you really have an intuitive feel for lost and found edges in your work. The white pumpkin has some beautiful lost and found edges on it. So did the two taller butternut squash. I really love this.
Thank you.
I wouldn't do anything different.
Thank you. I like this one.
Yay.
All right. And was it Jackie? Oh no, Pat. And then Jackie.
No, I went, I think.
Oh,
I
you
already went.
okay. All right.
I think I did.
Hey, Pat. Oh, you were muted and unmuted. Pat, you're muted again.
Unmute. Okay.
All right,
Now
there
can
we
you, but
go.
now can you see me?
I can see you. Lift it up a little, please.
I
Oh,
just
Pat.
see you now. What happened?
Okay. Well, put the view on speaker and it will show you because
Okay.
I have you in the spotlight.
Okay. I don't see me though. I mean, I see you. So I don't know how to. Now I see somebody else. I see
Okay. Hold on a second.
participants here. All right. Here's me. Oh, no, you don't want me to do that. What do you want me to do? Oh,
I don't want you to do
I
anything.
see
You
me now.
just lift
Okay.
up. Okay. Lift up
All
your
right.
painting a little. There we go. That's good. Now we can all see. Uh, Pat, your two butternut squash look wonderful. That worked well. The pumpkin all the way to the left, the shape of it, it looks a little bit misshapen onto the other pumpkin. I would make the edge of the pumpkin
Okay,
all the way
buddy.
to the left a little clearer.
Do
Does
that,
that
do
make
what?
sense?
Do what to it?
Make it clearer
Okay, yeah,
where it overlaps the other pumpkin.
yeah. Okay,
I love the wood grain in the table.
I got it better this time.
Much, much better. You fixed it
Yeah,
from before. That worked really well.
okay.
All right. Very nice, Pat.
What else should I change?
That's it. I wouldn't
Okay,
do much else.
all right.
Simple painting. Okay. Good work. Jean, I think it was you that's okay. Good. Let's take a look at yours. Hi, Jean.
Hi, for some reason I thought this was going to be fun and easy.
Wow,
But
that's
That
pretty colors.
that looks beautiful, Jean.
Yeah.
So, what were you struggling with?
well, you can't probably see it, but it's really a mess. It really doesn't look good. The laying down gourd or whatever it is
Mm-hmm.
it's just a blob. And
Oh,
orange pumpkin, that's a blob. And the big pumpkin, that's another blob. So
Well, I think you might be being hard on yourself. I don't see them as blobs. I like the butternut squash. That's a nice big shape. You could use a few more values on some of them where they're a little darker towards the form shadows. So on the butternut squash, that form shadow is the side facing away from the other pumpkin. And on the pumpkins that are facing us, the form shadow is the dark donut that we were talking about a minute ago. You know, you have a little bit of it on there, but if you uh, created more of the values where the darks are, I think the shapes would be more rounded. It would appear to be more rounded.
that makes sense.
Okay. It looks good though. You've done a great job with it.
Oh, thank you.
All right. Did I miss anybody?
think so.
Would anyone like a circle back that made some changes?
Would
Okay. Let's take a look if anyone has oh, Carrie, good. Oh yeah, Carrie, that edge looks better. It doesn't stand out as if there's a light behind them anymore.
okay.
And the smaller pumpkin looks like it's up against the bigger pumpkin. That works well. Good. I would call it done.
I
Have tea with
negative.
it tomorrow or something.
Yeah, I negative painted into the pumpkin to give it some shape.
me too.
Good.
That was so
Yeah.
much easier than going pumpkin out.
Agreed. All right. Anyone else want to circle back? Vivian.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
Better?
Oh, Vivian. That's
So pretty.
perfect.
Okay.
Perfect.
So,
Yeah, so you helped to unify the dark
wow.
on that side.
okay.
And now the butternut squash looks a lot smoother. The light logic
right.
looks a lot more logical.
Yeah.
So that
Perfect.
works.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very nice, my friend. I love it. All
It's good
right.
to be back.
It's
Yay,
good to have
welcome
you back.
back.
Yay.
Yay,
Good to
missed
have
you.
dirty hands.
Yeah.
All right, lovely people. Good job on tonight's exercise on Lost and Found Edges and Harvest Still Lifes. I'm sending you a scene that's almost exactly the same shapes and in a different composition. So I think you'll get a real kick out of it. Pretty much the same palette. So just leave your pastels out if you're going to do it. And I'd love to see what you do it for homework. So please send me a JPEG by email anytime over the next week. And we look forward to seeing you guys next week.
Thank you.
Okay, see you
Thank
later.
you.
Good night,
Question.
everybody.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Bye.
One question.
Sure.
Now what do I do with it? How do I store this thing? I'm
Well,
putting them in plastic bags, clear bags,
mhm,
I think they're called.
mhm. Yeah,
Oh,
that's what I do, Diane, and I keep them in plastic bins because of hurricanes. So
okay.
yeah, and they're organized according to subject. So the still lifes are in one, plein air pieces are in another, portraits in another, and so forth. Oh.
Oh, okay.
That's smart.
Can you take them in and out of the plastic bags though?
You can. You may lose a little pastel in the
Huh?
process. They may
Mhm.
smudge a little. If you're having some problems with static cling, take a sheet of Downy dryer sheets
Mhm.
and rub the inside, and that will break the static cling.
Okay, good. Okay, great.
All
Thank you.
right. You take care, my friend. Email me if you have any more questions.
Okay,
Okay.
okay, thanks.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.